about 2/3 or a bit more of people in Britain and across Europe, funnily enough, so it's not just us, will be overweight by 2030. So if people can't ration themselves, you know, and maybe your ration book might get a bit of pushing through, despite the fact you'll be Prime Minister on Friday.
They'll be calling for me, by the way.
They will be calling.
My phone's poised.
Maybe you know, we have to impose rationing. Maybe big business has to be pulled to heel, and there have to be these controls.
I do kind of agree. I think the high streets at the moment, it's become quite clear that they're much more concerned with financial gain rather than the social consequences. As Janet has mentioned, betting shops, fast food shops, you've also got these, you know, where you can get the loans and stuff like that. The social consequences are so big that I do think that these companies and the high streets, whoever runs the high streets, needs to have some sort of social responsibility. They do need to think about it. I don't know whether it is restricting, but something needs to come into place.
It is a difficult argument, though, because, you know, you're saying that we know better, we're going to control your life, we're going to control your access to certain foods. And, I mean, there's lots of things being floated, haven't there, about making fizzy drinks much more expensive so people don't buy them and trying to restrict food manufacturers. Do we want to go down that road or not?
I just think it's going to be so hard to change any of that because it is such a massive business, and obviously it brings in massive revenue, and then they pay massive taxes. So it's, you know,
and
it's a whole big, and they employ people. It's a whole big corporate event, really. But I don't think it's just fast food outlets that are to blame. I think it's a whole change now of lifestyle. You know, we don't, yes, we eat more fast food, yes, because we're busier, yes, because there's, you know, there's working mums who come home and think, you know what, I've done a 12-hour day, stick something in the microwave. We sit down, we've got remote controls for the telly, we've got things that wash our clothes, wash our dishes.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying that when you were kids, your mum had tea on the table when you came in.
Yeah, when you came in, and I was out all day as a kid, and she'd call me in for tea. You know, and I know it's like, oh, in our day, I hate that, by the way. I hate when people start that. But it is a whole lifestyle change, I think. It's because we live differently. You know, I have a friend who's a carer, and she does shift work, and she's got 3 kids, you know, and she comes home and she's absolutely shattered. So, you know, there is a part of her thinks, I don't want to go home, I don't want to go and buy it, I don't want to prepare it, I just want to get home and give the kids whatever they want.
I think it has to be a balance in people's lives. I hear what you're saying about shift workers and people travelling a long way to work, and also around all the stations now there are loads of these. So it's not just high streets, it's around all our mainline stations, and it is the availability of food that's got a dubious nutritional value but is easy and cheap to buy and, you know, and fills you up temporarily. So it's what I've said millions of times before. You have to go back to schools, teach kids to cook from scratch, and teach people that cooking isn't really expensive or time-consuming. Because let's be honest, people like Jamie Oliver has shown you can make a perfectly decent meal from scratch in 15 minutes.
Well, here's something perhaps a bit radical. I mean, obviously we've got controls on alcohol, we've got controls on tobacco. If you're talking about fast foods, and there's lots of them around schools, I mean, I certainly have that, you know, where my daughter's school is. Maybe there should be an age restriction during school time of going into fast food outlets, and they're not allowed to serve kids. I mean, I know that's maybe a bit out there, but
in some areas of Britain, councils have already started to restrict the number of takeaways near to schools. They have already. It's already happening, and it's our councils that we can vote for, that we can institute these policies, because they can withdraw the licensing and withdraw the planning permission, and it's up to the councils to reconstruct the high street and the areas around all our schools.
But I still think these kids will go home and the mums and dads go, do you want a takeaway because I'm tired?
Yeah, but I also, as a citizen, don't want to walk down a high street and just see wall-to-wall takeaways and betting shops.
But we can have convenience food because we do live very different lives. But does convenience food have to be unhealthy? I mean, surely we can have convenience food that's better for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, I'm really trying to get the kids into the habit of looking at all these labels so that they're very aware of the food that they're eating. They're so confused. There's not a uniform system. You're saying, well, that's got a red sign and that's got a green sign.
I
think one of the main problems is as well, they do have fast, healthy food restaurants, but they're so much more expensive. Healthy food is expensive, and that is something that needs to change.
I don't think all healthy food. I disagree with you about that, because I do eat really healthily.
I'm talking about if you're fast food.
But you can make a pasta or lentils, or you can make it from scratch, and it's
people
dead
always
cheap.
say that, Janet, but you've got the weight of a multi-billion-pound industry that is determined to get people to eat cheap rubbish.
Yeah, well, what are we? I'm sorry, mate. You're acting like Britain. We are just a load of people that's really easy to brainwash and hypnotise. And I don't want to sound like a politician, but I credit people with more intelligence than that.
Well, you tell me why they're projecting that 2/3 of the population is going to be overweight by 2030.
Because it's a wake-up call. They need to wake up. They need to realise that they'll be dragging themselves around in 10 years' time, unable to breathe, unable to own a pet like her one. They will be unable to exercise their dogs.
We didn't take that approach with tobacco, and we don't take that approach with alcohol.
Well,
we do have restrictions on these products.
And can I just say that
Mika
doesn't need a lot of exercise?
Anyway, bring back my ration book, because if you look back to the post-war years, you don't see any fatties, do you?
There you go. And yes, Janet does still own a twin tub.